minute live stream, and so I don't expect a bunch of people to show up. I just wanted to get some information out, and my voice has been in pretty bad shape, and so I haven't been able to make a lot of videos, and there's some things that have come up that I just want to talk about. So first, I want to kind of oh, that's a little bit better. It looks so dark. First, I want to talk a little bit about shadow work. Um, I was just going to make a video on this, but I wanted to just go ahead and talk about it. I thought it would be easier to do it like this and try and put a bunch of stuff together instead of making a bunch of separate videos. So first of all, I see that now more people are talking about shadow work, which is good. But I think there's still some confusion on how to do shadow work. So if you go back and look at Sister Pat's videos from a while ago, maybe a year ago or something like that, she had given a description of how to deal with, how to identify your shadow and how to deal with your shadow that I'm basically going to rehash here because I thought it was a good explanation. And I also thought that it was very helpful for understanding exactly what the shadow is and the easiest way to deal with it. So, as she always says, the shadow is the messed up stuff about you that you don't want to deal with, right? And so that is that requires you to have some serious self-reflection, meaning you have to know how to identify what's messed up with you. So for other people, what shadow looks like is if you've had a lot of traumatic things happen to you. So if you have trauma that is in your life, hey Jess, I'm gonna talk about what you sent me to in a little while, but I want to talk about this shadow stuff first. So if you have stuff that has happened to you that's bad, stuff that's happened to you that you would like to shalom that you would like to be better at, stuff that has happened to you that is that you would rather not talk about, that you would rather forget, that is what makes up your shadow. And so it doesn't necessarily look like if you're the type of person who hasn't who doesn't necessarily respond to these type of things with a negative response. So like a less aggressive woman, if you've been abused or something like that, you don't respond to people with more abuse. You may, go into a shell or whatever and just kind of relive these situations over and over again. That's what makes your shadow. And so it's much easier if that's the type of but you could be the type of person who somebody did something messed up to you, you turn around and do something messed up to somebody else. That could be how you respond to it. I find that I respond to it more so like somebody did something messed up to me, so I'm more cautious about how I engage with people moving forward. Instead of, judging each person on their own merits, I may, take what somebody does, put it against what somebody else did, and judge them based on that, which we shouldn't be judging anyway, but sometimes you have to make estimations, right? I may be putting them into a mold that it doesn't belong to them. And so the way that you deal with situations like that, especially like abuse and stuff, is that you want to go back and give that situation a happy ending. And what does that look like? Well, maybe instead of going out to wherever you met this person and meeting them, maybe you just erase that memory altogether. Instead of going to that in your mind, you decide to go and do something else. You know what I mean? Because we are the creators. We create our reality. And so you're not lying when you say, I don't know that person, because you have recreated that reality. You know what I mean? Right, yeah. So what triggers you will also help to let you know what kind of things you need to work on. So if um if you're triggered by, you know, somebody saying, calling you a name, or calling you out of your name, or whatever the case may be, if that brings you into some kind of anger, if you have an automatic emotional response to something, that's where your shadow is, and you need to figure out why you have that automatic response. And so jealousy is a good, if you see somebody and, they're in a cute dress and you're like, oh my gosh, why is she wearing that dress? She's way too big for that. Well, automatically go into some kind of judging and all of that. You probably have like a self-esteem shadow that you need to deal with. And so whenever you just automatically have an emotional response to something, that's where you want to check and see, why is that? Because a lot of times we have buried it. So not only is it difficult to deal with the shadow in general, we have put that information so far down into ourselves that you got to go through a lot to pull it up and figure out what it is that causes you to do that. And then once you figure out what it is, that causes you to do that, then you can rewrite the story. And, for most people, it's so far away, so long ago that it's easy to rewrite the story. It's not hard. It's just that you have to do some digging to figure out what that thing is. And Sister Pat does a really, really good job at going through shadow and stuff with or whatever. But I do not recommend you call her until you've done some stuff on your own. Because, somebody who's a professional at that, you don't want to waste their time by not knowing that you're triggered by, just somebody with red hair. You want to know that before you actually start to like talk with her, because then you're wasting her time. We don't want to waste our brothers and our sisters time, especially when when they're giving stuff away. Like, we don't want to waste their time, because it doesn't cost money, but it does cost energy. You have to put in the energy to do the work. So I am highly recommending that people do go to her, but I am highly recommending that you do some work on yourself first and try to identify where your issues are, so that you are able to do something about it, so that when you talk to her, you already kind of have an idea of what the things are. Because when you go into the spirit realm, you're going to see all of it. Like, you can't hide any of it. So if you haven't really done the work to at least acknowledge, you know yeah, and this the whole concept of judging, like, we it's such a difficult topic, because a lot of people cannot just say live and let live. You know what I mean? That's not my problem. I'm going to stay out of it. That's we're just not trained to do that. So to be able to look at a situation and say, hey, that's not me. That's not, my situation. I wouldn't do that. Now, it doesn't mean you can't observe. So I think that there is a difference between observing and judging, because you will observe something to see if you have that same reaction to stuff. So what do I mean by that? So sometimes when you like, let's say, for example, somebody tells you that something is going on with somebody else, I don't think it's judging to talk to a third party about how you feel about the situation, because you can talk about how you feel about something without actually judging the person. Because sometimes you're just trying to figure, first of all, you have to get your own emotion out about stuff. So we also can't push ourselves to be so perfect that we're not willing to address the fact that other people have stuff going on and that we can't observe. You know what I mean? Like, so, even if you do feel like it gets into, kind of into the judging, phase, you can always ask for, forgiveness for that. It's much better to get your emotion out about it, because the emotion and the over emotion is what makes our shadow bigger. Because what happens is, when we get emotional about stuff, we automatically regress into our shadow. And so, I am not opposed to picking up a piece of your shadow and using it as a weapon when necessary. You can't eliminate it, but you have to be in control of it. You can't automatically regress. So sometimes that looks like you're having a conversation with somebody, you don't agree with what they're saying, and you let them finish whatever it is they're saying, and then you just think about that later instead of having an emotional response and starting an argument. You will sit back and let that person get out what they need to get out, and you just walk away and say, okay. Sometimes you just say okay, and you step back, as opposed to you know regressing into that, whatever that is that made our shadow, the emotion come up. Like, so it's much better. Like, a lot of people think I don't have emotion, people who know me, because I don't immediately get emotional. I try to be neutral in my feelings. And then I wait to have an emotional response after I've been neutral. So I may eventually have an emotional response, but it's going to be one that is controlled instead of an uncontrolled emotional response. And that's what shadow management looks like. Not immediately having an emotional response to something, being able to sit back and have a non emotional response, and when it's necessary, then have an emotional response instead of leading with an emotional response and then you can't take that back. Me, by the time I have an emotional response, it's time for an emotional response. Yeah, you have to talk to people. I mean, the whole concept of, not talking to somebody about things that are going on, and thinking that is the same as gossiping, that's not the same thing. Like, you have to have somebody to bounce information off of. And you have several people, that's better, and that way you can bounce it off of one person, bounce it off another person. Hypnotherapy is good. Of course, you can do a lot of this with the pendulum, the karma cleanses, and all of that. That's all, that's pendulum work. And it's not difficult. It's just a matter of you got to put in the work to deal with it. So I am glad that people are talking about shadow work. I think it's really important, but I don't want people to feel like they're being pressured into holding all their emotions in, and saying that that is shadow work. No, repressing your emotions is not shadow work. It's not. And I don't, it doesn't matter who, it's not shadow work to hold everything in so that you're not gossiping and this and that and whatever. All the sins are the same, and we all sin. So what it is you have to figure out your emotional response to it. You have to figure out how you feel about it. And it doesn't mean talking about it to every single person you know. Different. Sometimes you need to have somebody to talk to it about that can give you feedback that is helpful. So if you have a problem with relationships and you talk to a person who's in a relationship, if you have a problem with work stuff, you talk to a person who has a job. You want to talk to people who are subject matter participants. At least if they're not experts, they need to be participating. So if you have a problem with your significant other, don't talk to a single person about it. That's not really going to help you. That's a totally different set of things. And to act like, you're just supposed to take all this stuff in, never ever speak about it, that's just making your shadow bigger. No, you need to develop, like a safe space where you can talk about it and you feel comfortable. It doesn't mean going blabbing everybody's business all around the streets, but you know who you can talk to that is trustworthy and that won't tell everybody everything. That's the person you want to talk to, and just find something for different areas in your life, and run your life like that, as opposed to, because what I'm worried about is, now everybody's talking about shadow work and all this stuff, that people will think that bottling it up is the solution. And that's really not. That's only going to make it worse. You have to get your emotions out, but you want to be controlled when you release them. You don't want to uncontrolled release your emotions. So that's my little spiel on shadow work. Again, I highly recommend that people do schedule a session with Sister Pat, but do some work on yourself first, because when she reaches into that shadow realm to pull this stuff out, you don't want it to be a surprise. You want to use her for confirmation of the work you've been doing, as opposed to having her lay out a path for everything that you have to do. Make her life easier. She's offering this as a service to our people. Make her life easier. Now, another thing that you can do with this, or no, she does one-on-one sessions. Jess, I'll send you her the link to her channel. Um, so let's talk about meditation real quick. So I did a video where I was talking about the aurora crystals, right? And so I highly recommend that people go back and look at that video if you're not sure about how this crystal thing works, because, as I discussed, the way the crystals work, the primary way that they work is based off colors. And then if you go to Mimsa's channel, she talks about the spheres and how the sphere or the chakras and how they line up with the colors. And so you can start to see how all of this stuff is connected. And so what I do with my crystals, I just want to talk about this because I can actually, show the crystals because I'm doing a live stream. But so I haven't used these yet. I don't normally use. I haven't used these yet because I've been using something else, my other aurora crystals that I didn't bring over here. Dang. But let me just show you an example. So okay, today is Sunday, right? So today is Sunday. When I do my nighttime meditation, I probably will use my sunshine. You can see it's yellow, sunshine aurora quartz. And this is my golden healer quartz, which I do have some of these in necklaces. It's really, really beautiful. But you can see these are both yellow, and I have on my yellow. And so when you work with these size crystals, so like I was watching the High Priestess, and she had big selenite wands, which is okay, but I don't want something that big when I meditate because I don't want to be focused on what's in my hands. I want to have my hands in a comfortable position. So what I will do with crystals that are this small is that I will just put it in my thumb, like kind of like this, and I'll just, set my hand down like this. And so I'm getting the energy, but it's not I don't have to clench my fist, because I noticed that when I use bigger crystals and I was clenching my fist, I start to squeeze, like you start to tense up, and that's extremely, luckily my nails aren't that sharp because it would have been painful. So that's why I like these crystals, because they'll fit right, right there. And then as you meditate, you have them and you don't have to do anything, super crazy. And so I would definitely recommend, like, I do meditation in the morning and at night. And in the morning, I try to use pink, you know, I try to use pink. This is, I don't have the paper near me. This is pink something. I don't, pink pearl. Ha. And this is pink opal. And I have my pink aurora quartz, but it's over there. And so I will try to use something pink in the morning because I want to have a good day. And then at night, I'll try and use, the crystal, the color one for the day. And I just find that usually I will pair my titanium quartz, because it's black and it's got that Saturn energy, that mother energy, with the other color crystal for today, for the day. And I will do that at night so that when I go to sleep, I could try to resolve, shalom, shalom. I will try to resolve some of these issues that I've dealt with during the day, and hopefully wake up with a voice and not, losing it because I'm yelling, shalom, shalom, yelling and screaming at whoever in the spirit realm in my sleep. So definitely, small crystals are fine. Go to any crystal shop. Don't feel obligated to get stuff from me. Just go somewhere, get the crystals. See which ones. See what you're trying to do. I definitely recommend meditating every day. The energy is getting extremely strong. I can tell that I didn't meditate this morning. Sunday mornings, I have my meeting with the Most High and the Holy Mother, and I didn't meditate, and I can tell. So I'm probably going to do a longer meditation tonight to try and balance all of that energy out. I can really tell now when I don't do my meditations in the morning. Another thing is mantras. So I talked about this a little bit in the video, or I made a post about it, but the Hindu mantras are really helpful. And what I find that they're helpful for is opening up the different spheres so that that energy can flow in. So right now we're under the rule of Jupiter. So I have a Devi, which is the female goddess mantra. And I also have oh, the crystal you got is the strawberry quartz. I'm sorry. I didn't get a chance. I saw the email, but I didn't actually get to respond to it. You got a strawberry quartz strawberry aurora quartz, which is the mix between the white and the it's not quite as dark as the red one, so it's not in the set, but it's pink cuz I for some reason have really been into pink. I don't know really exactly what it is, but it's this the whole pink energy has really been heavy. So yes, that was a strawberry aurora quartz, or aura quartz. Um, Oh, good, perfect. So I have been doing a Deva, which is the God mantra in the morning, and then at night I've been doing the Devi mantra, which is the goddess for Jupiter. And I shared on my community post, a list of all the different mantras for the different planets. You can tie that up to the day. I highly recommend the those mantras that are from the Hindu whatever people, because as Brother Man talks about, those are different keys. Those are different kinds of keys. And I also think, just like I said, with the infernal spirits, just like I've said with all these other spirits, they're tired of working with their people that they've always worked with. Here's an example. This is the example that I wanted to give. I was on Twitter and I follow a bunch of Vedic astrologers. And they were arguing and upset because another astrologer was telling people to do a particular mantra. And they were complaining because, according to them, you had to be initiated with that particular god before you did that particular mantra. And they thought that it was, you could hurt yourself by saying the wrong mantra. And I was just like, I couldn't do anything but shake my head, because I said, this is why they're tired of working with these people. Everything is being gate kept. Even now, we're clearly in the end of something, and these people are still gatekeeping Devis and Devas. Like, I just don't understand what the point of that is. And these are their people. This is what they do. And this is how they're talking amongst their own people about this. So it reminded me very much of how the Christians are. And how they do things. It's like, yeah, you better be careful if you call on the name of Jesus, because this is gonna happen and that's gonna happen. It's like, man, come on now. Y'all talk about Lucifer every single service, Satan every single service. And y'all churches haven't started to blow up yet. So I'm trying to understand what the issue is. Using don't use the Lord's name in vain. I mean, they don't even know what that means. They don't even know what that means, and they're telling people don't use the Lord's name in vain. And so it's not just Christians. These were Hindus. It was the same exact thing. And so these entities don't want to work with them. They don't. And so they are making themselves available for us to work with them. They have a wide variety of different things that they can do. If you don't want to do like I do, which is, what I'm doing is every month I'm going to do a mantra that's related to the planet for that month. And so this month we're in Jupiter. Next month is Mars. I'm going to do, whatever it is when I go looking for it. Of course, I'll share it. But that's my plan for the rest of the year, until this time next year. That's what I intend to do. And I'm finding that saying I didn't do my mantra either this morning. And again, I can tell the difference in just how like my levels are just not, even, which is why I couldn't get a video out. I was like, Right? Yeah, you don't even know what you could gain if you don't just try it. But these, they're anyway. So, like I had posted the article, these people, they're no different than the Christians. Just so you know, because people are like, oh, well, this one's different. That no. These people are no different than the Christians. They're all the same. They're all the same. And so these entities, they're tired of working with these people. They're just tired of it. They want people to just be honest and real, and so they want to work with our people. So don't be worried about working with different entities. Don't talk. I mean, if somebody's going to try and talk you out of working with an entity, don't talk about it until you've already done some work. And the reason why I say that is, if I had talked to anybody about Lilith, working with her before I did it, people would have probably tried to talk me out of it, but then I would have missed the whole, the whole drop on how that, they just lied about what that quote unquote tree of death is and what all those entities are, that they're the quote unquote archangels. It's just not the way that they say. And so, if I had talked to anybody about that, I would have really missed out on all of that information. So you have to really learn this stuff for yourself. This is stuff that's not in no books, and we're going into a time period where the stuff, shalom, shalom, we're going into a time period where the stuff that we do is not going to be from a book. The spirit realm will come directly to you and tell you what to do. And it will be nudges to do things like, you know, going to get certain candles, then realizing, oh, I needed this candle for X, Y, and Z, not really knowing why you needed a candle, that kind of thing. The urges will just come up. And speaking of that, I'm going to talk about the ancestor money real quick. There's a YouTuber, I shared her page. Her channel is called Lead with Love. I had no idea that this ancestor money was helpful. And so what I learned from her channel is that the ancestors, when you burn this ancestor money, first of all, this is like the black judge. This is like the black judge, and this is the emperor. I don't think she comes from it from the same position as we do, but when she said it, I knew exactly what she meant. This guy is like the black judge, and so when you burn this money, you are sending this money to the spirit realm, to your ancestors, to pay off their karmic debts. Now, if you've done our karma cleanse, then you have if you've done the karma cleanse, then you have cleared the karma. But clearing the karma is not the same as paying a debt. And so when you burn this ancestor money, you help to pay their debts. This is going to come up in some videos that are upcoming. I don't want to go into too much detail about that right now, but I'm just telling you, like, yeah, you're supposed to burn these. And when you go to her channel, she has a bunch of videos talking about what she says when she burns stuff, why she says it, explains what it does. It's not in the language that we use, but you will recognize it because thanks to Big Levi, we have a very good understanding of hermetics and how it works. So those principles apply across the board. And so you'll be able to go to her channel. She reviews the different kinds of ancestor money. She has links to it, the different ones, so you don't waste your money buying ones or whatever. The different ones that she uses, how she uses it, why she uses it. She talks about it. Lead with Love. I also shared one of her videos yesterday on my community post, but Lead with Love. And she just says, before she burns it, she's like, this is for my ancestors. So I want them to have a good life in the afterlife. And I thought that was really, really important because we lean very heavily on our ancestors. We are asking our ancestors to do a whole lot. And if we haven't burned no ancestor money, they don't have nothing. Our ancestors is walking around broke. When in fact, all we had to do was burn these pieces of paper. The black judge is going to be the arbitrator and make sure that they get their payment in terms that certain people will understand. That's what this is. That's who this is. This is the Chinese representation of the black judge. That's what this is, and that's why a lot of it is in, you know, these people thing. They don't want us to make the connection. You know how it is. They don't want us to make the connections. But as soon as she said it, I was like, wow, this she's talking about the black judge. They really don't. And then the colors have meaning. We already know about this. This has all the colors on it. So you already know this is going to all the different spheres, and then on the back it says hell banknote. This one's only $100 because this is all they had at my metaphysical store, but I'm just going to use this, burn one a day, until my other pack gets here. But and then I got another one. This one is 50, you know. Um, and she does this on her channel, so I'm not going to be, doing what she does, but I just wanted to show y'all what it looks like. It's very, very thin, and she burns a lot of it. I'm going to start with one a day until my pack gets here, and see how my ancestors like it, because what happened was, you know, I just got the message from the spirit that our ancestors, they need our help, and the karma cleanse is helpful because, like I said, it does deal with their karma. But as a result of what these heathens and these Gentiles have done, they have a karmic debt that has to be paid. And, I've been canceling a lot of contracts, and we'll have some more of that to come. But canceling the contract still doesn't negate the debt that they incurred. And that's just like us. Like, if you go through the bill pay process, the secure party process, whatever the case may be, that that process removes you from their system, but it still doesn't cancel your debt. It doesn't pay back your debt. You have to do more steps in order to actually eliminate your debt. And our ancestors didn't even have the opportunity to do that. And so with the ancestor money, that's what we're doing. We're going back and we're paying their karmic debts. And it's just, she says in a video, it's just a piece of paper. They can't call Amazon and get piece of paper delivered to the door. You know what I mean? So that can be burned and they can use. They can't do that. So we have to do it for them. And if we're not doing it, no one else is going to do it. Nobody is doing anything for their ancestors, not stuff like this. And so when I stumbled across her page after I heard this word about paying the debt, it was really significant to me. And of course, I wanted to share her channel, and then I went and got some of my own. And it is supposed to help with unblocking your access to money right now. So they emphasize bringing you money right now. Okay, the heathens and the Gentiles, they emphasize that, oh, it will bring you money right now. But that's not all it really does. This on the spiritual side, fire is one of the four elements. And so when you burn something, you're using multiple elements and you're sending it through the air to your ancestors, literally like an instant transfer, so that they can resolve some of the stuff that they need to resolve, pay off their karmic debts, so that, like she said, they can have a good life in the afterlife. So here's something else that I got from our metaphysical store. These things will come in handy. I'm highly recommending that people go online and try and find these. I can, send a link. I don't know how many more. I got these from my metaphysical store, right? And as you can see, these ones are a little bit thicker. These are not like as thin as these, right? These are really, really thin. These are much thicker. These are much thicker. These ones you don't burn. These ones we're going to use for our folk magic coming up. And so I want people to be prepared by trying to go and find these, or something similar, and the main colors that you need is one color I don't have. I was able to order online, but the main colors you need are gold, green, black, red, and white. or silver. If you can, and even if it's this, you want to get something in gold, green, black, red, and silver and have it on deck. When I can release the information on how to use these particular colors, you don't want to be scrambling around trying to find something. It could be stones, it could be uh, 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 herbs, flowers, tinctures, whatever it is. Get something that corresponds with Lavana, something that corresponds with Medim, something that corresponds with Venus, something that corresponds with Shabbatai, and something that corresponds with Shemesh. Get it, have it on deck. When I can release the information, you'll already know what time it is. And these ones I got from my local store. You can see, like I said, they're thick. I got these from my local store because they had them. I didn't even know why I bought those things, but at the same time, this ancestor money was revealed to me. This other part of our folk magic was revealed. I just can't talk about it yet, but it is definitely coming, and it's going to make our engagement with folk magic and folk practicing much easier because we have a key to unlock a lot of stuff, and it has to do a lot with these particular colors: green, red, black, silver, and gold. Those ones. And the reason why it's not Jupiter or Zedek and Kokaz is due to the nature of the entities in those spheres. So, of the Olympic spirits, Kokaz, Ophiel, which is the Olympic spirit over Mercury, is actually ruling right now. So we don't need that energy. And the Olympic spirit over Zedek, see, they're already assigned to us due to the nature of the constellations being in that sphere. So they're already assigned to us. Those two entities are automatically going to be present. These ones, the other ones, you're going to have to call them in. And you're gonna have to call them in. So you wanna get, if it's not this, whatever you get, you wanna get the colors, set it aside, and just when the information is released, and I'm waiting for a date. It's not a money thing. It's some stuff that we have to do first, that we have to take care of first, that I gotta do before I can. But I want to tell y'all so you can start wrapping your mind around it. It's going to make the way that we do everything so much easier. It's literally a key. Okay, so the next thing, this is kind of off topic. I got this. You can see if you can find this on Amazon. This is the Teyua root. Who is this? Oh, I don't have no moderators. Hold on one second. Give me one moment. Let me delete this person. I want to make who else is on here? All right. All right, now we got some moderators. Ooh, I meant to do that before. Now we got some moderators. Somebody's talking about some monkey. Oh boy, I know where that person came from. All the Gab users need to go back to Gab. Nobody is talking to you. Anyway, this Teyua um a I got this from somebody at a farmer's market, and she told me that it works for congestion. And I got really, really congested last week, kind of like out of nowhere. That's why my voice has been all crazy. And I was able to break up all of my congestions with a few uses of this. This it really broke my congestion up, and it was all coming up, and now my congestion is just about out. And so if I know that there's something going around, with all of this stuff, there's just something. So I wanted to share this with y'all. If you can find it somewhere. It is nasty as all get out. I am not going to lie. It is not pleasant. However, it does break up congestion. I have taken it mixed in with applesauce. I put it in my drink the first day. That was unpleasant. And then I put it in a tea bag and let the tea bag steep in the hot water and then took it. That was a little bit better to handle. It is it's like it breaks up congestion like immediately. It's but like I said, it's not pleasant. And the side effect for me was because I had so much congestion, it caused me to lose my voice, and I was just going in and out with my voice. So, yeah, this is the Teyua root, and this comes from the Amazon. If you guys have a hard time finding it, let me know, and I'll give you this lady's website. She gets it directly from the Amazon. I got this from St. Augustine. Um, Onion with sugar, and it breaks it up to, yeah, you know what? Certain things, yes, certain things like onions and stuff, I could take this. No, it's Teyua. It's Teyua. Tayuya. Teyua root. I will try that onion thing next time. I like to have a powder that I could just throw it in and try and kick it back. Actually, I bought a bunch of different stuff from her. I'm trying to figure out how all the stuff works. And so as I figure it out, I'll bring it to you. But this one right here, man, this immediately, as soon as I took the first sip, I was hacking up all that congestion. I had way and plus since we're fasting, that's another, like your body will be trying to eliminate stuff, and I just felt like it was kind of like a combination of all of that. So, this stuff right here, I will vouch for it. It works. It tastes awful, but it does get the job done. Ugh, that stuff is awful. I don't even want to talk about it because of how awful it is. Next, I'm going to talk about this. And then if anybody has any, it's not just bitter, it's the texture. It's kind of like um it tastes kind of like swallowing dry rice. Like the texture is just I'm a texture person. It's kind of like swallowing dry rice. That's the texture of it. So um this is like a black obsidian disc that I got. And if people can't find these, let me know. I can order some more. If people can't find them somewhere else. I can't remember how much this was. It wasn't that much. But right now, I mean, you can literally use it like a mirror, especially if there's light. You can it's literally looks like a mirror, but I know that you can use this for like the spirit realm and whatnot, and I haven't gotten into that yet, but I just wanted to show people that I do have one, and I will be right now. I just let it sit underneath my I got a selenite disc to charge all of my crystals that I leave on my little dresser altar. And so, this is something that, it seems like it'll be coming in handy coming up soon. So this is what mine looks like. It's small. I think this is like a 3-inch one. It's very small, but it's like a pocket mirror. I'm gonna see if I can find a frame or something. You can see it's kind of thick. This is like a coaster. So I think it was meant to like sit drinks on. Um, yeah, it's just a piece of black obsidian. You don't have to buy it as an actual scrying mirror. This is actually just a coaster, I think they called it. But I'm going to use it for scrying. I just haven't started to do that yet. But I that's going to be part of the glamour magic. No, I actually ordered these the same place I ordered the crystals from. So um, I'll see how much they were on. I can't remember how much I paid for these. I don't think they were that much. I think the ones on Etsy were like too much for me, and I was like, I'm not paying that. So I went and I found them wholesale. That's typically what I do. So I'll look and see how much what what I can sell these for. It's not gonna be as much as Essie. Essie was outrageous. But this is just like a 3 inch mirror, and it really can be used as a mirror. It's very interesting. So but I just wanted to show you I do have one. We are headed there with our glamour stuff. Um, okay, a couple more things. This video is like taking a long time. This I got like last week, my Diana. If you're working with Diana currently, um, uh, this kind of oil, it's a sun dye Diana. It smells really, really good. This one's made in Florida, so I'm not sure if you can find it anywhere, but just any oil that's dedicated to Diana, you might want to just have that around. I got this one today. This one is dedicated to Yemaya. I think I'll be starting to work with her soon. I just keep getting and as you can see in the picture, she's blue. So you already know what time that is. When they're blue, they're really black. So um, I do like the way these oils smell, the sun's eye. So if you can find it locally or whatever, get you some goddess oils and just hold on to them. I'm just putting the word out. I don't know what all of this stuff means. I always say I don't know. I got the instructions to just tell y'all the stuff that I have, and I'm sure it'll become clear. But these are just little things to have on deck. I do use this Diana oil when I do I do the invocation to her. I think I did share it on my community post in Italian, and one of the lines is I drop 3 drops of oil, you know, as not an offering, but just to you to fulfill my court request of bringing good luck. And I use this oil. I'm not sure. I know one thing I'm going to be using it with. I don't have the stuff with me right here, but I recently got the stuff to make henna. And I did share some stuff about henna, but let me talk about henna real quick. With henna, now this is y'all and I. This some of this stuff. It's just like no hectate is another one. I mean, all of these goddesses are just anyway. Our people, we used to use henna for our makeup. I am not even making this. I wish I could be making this up. If you guys saw the video that I did about the Memax and the Beothooks, um, one of the one of the things about the encounter with the Beothook, which Beothook literally means the people. That's what it means, the people. The girl had red, they always they called a red ochre on their face, and that just meant a red powder. And I was thinking about that. I said, well, how would you, yeah, they stole that from us. How would you get red powder to stick to your face? That doesn't make any sense. But if you look at the henna process, it's taking the henna leaves off. It grows into a tree, so you can order you a henna. Shalom, shalom. You can order you a henna plant. I ordered one. You can order some henna powder, whatever. You can wait. I'm gonna make some cones and offer them to people, whatever. So you you can take the henna powder, because remember it was red. You can take the henna powder, mix it with what is that stuff? That red in the video I saw the lady mix it with not sorrel, but hibiscus. She mixed it, shalom, shalom. She mixed the henna, the fresh henna leaves, with a hibiscus flower, a fresh hibiscus flower, added some hot water, blended it up, drew the henna on her hands, and it was red. And when I saw that, I was like, that's what our people did. So like, I know Sister Tina's gonna get this. If you were told that you were a Blackfoot Indian, like I was told I was a Blackfoot Indian, do you know you can make black henna? How would they have had black feet? It would have been something that even if you walk barefoot all day your whole life, your feet ain't gonna be black. And it wasn't black because they were dirty. It's black because they put henna on their feet as a protectant. Because what henna does is an antifungal and anti whatever. It calms you down, anti-spasmodic, all kinds of stuff. Look into the health benefits of henna. You will not believe what this stuff does. And our skin is our largest organ. And so when you take that henna and you put it into your skin, it calms you. That's why our people did all this stuff. You can even dye your nails with henna. Now don't buy the pre-made tubes. They got a bunch of chemicals and all of that stuff. Um, uh, Yeah, you can use henna for all kinds of stuff. I had no idea was that I had no idea it was that diverse, but the health properties of it is just it will keep you from getting sick. So you know the Hindus when they or the Indians when they get their henna, it's to keep them from getting sick at their weddings. That's the whole point of it. Africans use the henna too, but they don't decorate. They just, I'm no offense to the Africans, but they just dump their hands in it, rub it off, and then they hug and all that stuff. It keeps them from getting sick. See, it keeps you from getting sick. And so that's why there were some of our people who was walking around with black feet, red ochre skin, all kinds of probably red nails, all of that. It was from the henna, using the henna, mixing it with other natural plants, putting it on your skin and letting it sit. It's I did it to my feet. It didn't come out very well. My black powder just came, so I'm gonna whip up another batch and see if it turns out better than the regular batch that I made. But that's why I got these oils because when I do my henna, you have to add an essential oil. This stuff smells awful, terrible, terrible stuff. So if you don't add some essential oil to it, you're gonna smell like that all week. It's not pleasant. So like my henna, you can't see it on my hand anymore, but I had just did it on my fingertips and around here. I didn't let it sit that long. But when I do it again, I'm gonna let it, I'm gonna take my time and move a little bit slower and add some of this essential oil and hopefully it won't be as awful. So I definitely will talk more about that upcoming. I know it's a lot of stuff I keep saying we're going to talk about it. I'm just waiting for the instructions, the spirit realm to say, okay, now it's time to go. But I'm trying to get y'all as prepared as I can. And if you missed the first half of this video, especially Sister Sharice, please go back to the beginning. I talked about the ancestor money. I talked about a bunch of stuff I haven't had a chance to talk to you about. It's all in there. You definitely want to get caught up because when it's time to move to the next level, I want everybody to be prepared. So that's the thing with the henna. Now, as you can see, I got some new digs here. I'm definitely into my. You know what the crazy thing about this? When I ordered these, I had no idea that every last piece that I ordered was made in India. And I was like, I can't believe this. It, uh, yeah, the red clay, all that is like, it could be clay or it could have been henna. I mean, anyway, all of these is made in India. So that was like a confirmation to me. Shalom, shalom. I haven't seen you in a long time, Sister Lynn. We should have a talk soon. Because I forget everything. Yeah, all of these were made in India. And I was like, wow, I've been, saying these mantras, and then I ordered this African, so-called African print stuff, and it's all made in India. So that was another thing. So if people are interested in these like one size dresses, I can put up the little link, and I can order them. I also have right now, none of these fit me. These are 4X. I ordered the king size pack. These are 4X. As you can see, I got a purple one and a red one. These are 4X, and I the size that I wear is a 2X, and the 3X is a little bit big on me, and the regular size clothes I wear is like a 16, 18. So 2X, and so anyway, 3X. These are 4X. I have these available. If somebody is interested, I guess I'll sell them for like $30 for both. I just can't. I don't know anybody this big anymore. And then I have these 5X ones. These are ones that are way too big, and these are 100% cotton. Um, I really like them. And then these ones I have are 6X. So if anybody is interested, these are the 6X ones. They're 100% cotton, made in India. I really like mine. I've changed out. Shalom, shalom. I've changed out my whole wardrobe. I don't. I was wearing a bunch of hodgepodge clothes before. Now I'm in straight African print stuff all the time. That's just where I am. And so if other people are trying to get into, more of our original ethnic clothing, let me know. I have been looking at this stuff for a long time. I got a wholesaler. So the stuff is not that expensive. It's just the sizes are, you want to. That's the reason why I will buy stuff and try it, because you want to make sure the sizes are proper. Like this is one size, and if you wear up to like a size 20, you could probably get in this. Maybe even a 22. You know what I mean? But it's not going to be, if you're in a 24, 26. It's going to be a little bit too big. And then I have, if you're skinnier, you would just tie it with a belt or something like that. It wouldn't look too bad. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, and then if people have questions, I'll be glad to answer what I can. This is something that Sister Jess sent me, who's in the chat, one of my dearest friends. And I'm going to talk about this part first. This is like the board, right? This is the board. You guys see this? And you can order this on Amazon. That's where she ordered it from. And then you have to go with these like dice. And as you can see, this one has numbers on it, right? You get 3 dice. That one has numbers. This one has signs, right? And then this one has planets, right? So the way you would use this, or the way you could use this, or the way that I use it, like when I post I've been posting the pictures of this, and just talking about, like a daily divination. So the way that I have been using this is I got an astrology book, like a basic one that just basic stuff. And then I roll the dice. I say, what message do the mother and the father have for us today? And then wherever the dice lands on the board, I look, what that sign, what that house, what that whatever means, and I just try to put together a cohesive idea of what that means. So I'll be talking about this more in depth, especially once I get my tarot spiral done, which I am working on. And shout out to Mama T. She actually put together the chart in the proper order, so I can start teaching the chart. I did not want to teach the chart with the chart out of order because it's too confusing, but she put it in the right order. So as soon as I have the final copy from her, I'll share that. Yeah, it's similar to a pendulum board, but you use dice instead. So this is like, if you heard the story where I think Kirimo was talking about this. They had these dice, and the kids used to just play with the emeralds like they were toys. I'm assuming it was kind of like this, and not just like, stuff. Because our people, we always did stuff that had value. We weren't just messing around with just random stuff. We did stuff that had value. And so I'm assuming that it was something that was kind of like this, but the heathens and the Gentiles, they didn't understand it. And so they just kind of like, you know, gloss it over like it was nothing. You know what I mean? And so I highly recommend, you can get this and just put it on deck. Start figuring out the signs. If you have your chart or you've done charts with me, then you can, start to put things together, see, how the things connect. This is just part of our divination, and that's why I call this video our divination Q&A, because I wanted to. Oh, it's one more thing I want to talk about too. I forgot. I wanted to. Yeah, it was gold, right? And I'll bet you anything that it looked like this. It wasn't just random chunks of gold. Our people didn't do random stuff. Nothing we did was random. Nothing we did was by accident. The heathens and the Gentiles, they just didn't understand it. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of divination tools that are out there, and I'm not saying you have to get every single one, but you should look at them and see which ones resonate with you, and then start learning how they work. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times this stuff is actually encoded into our DNA. It is there for us to use once we pick it up. Like, the first time I used the dice, I was like, this is a little weird. But by the second time, it was like that information came just flooding back, and I understood what was going on. And it's been that way with a lot of stuff. And so, part of my message today is that people really have to, it's not just about paying attention. It's about trusting that the information that the spirit realm is giving you is true. You can't, like, okay, this is a perfect example. I had a dream, and in the dream, somebody was training me, right? And the training, it was me and one of my friends, another one of my friends. And the trainer was like, okay, you guys pick out your outfits. Like, because we were, you know, picking out our outfits or whatever to do this training. And it seemed like it was spiritual training, right? And so I had an outfit on, and my friend, she picked up the outfit that I had on. And she was like, oh, this is pretty. And the trainer looked at her and was like, no, you're going to need about 2,000 more years of training before you can wear that. And that stuck out. First of all, I didn't even record the whole dream, because usually I record my dreams, but it was so strange. I said, I'm not recording this dream. This dream is weird. But it really wasn't. It was really indicative of the fact that some people, they just need more work. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It doesn't mean anything. It's just that they're not ready for the stuff that we're ready for. And I don't, hold that against anybody. That's where you can go wrong with your judgment and stuff like that. But, the most important part is to trust the information that you've been given, and to not discount it and to not discredit. That's another reason why the Most High sat me down this week, because when those dreams came through, it was another one that was also equally strange. I didn't record them. I didn't do anything with them. I just said, these are strange. I don't know what these mean, and I'm not going to record this because they're too strange. And they now I really really regret that, because they were very very important. And I just doubted myself, and I doubted my own. After fighting those demons, that tried to get me to sign a contract in my sleep, then I'm doubting myself over the stuff with the superpowers and the other stuff that like, for example, in one of my dreams, I won't tell the whole dream, but as the dream was going on, I got disrupted with my congestion. So this was the same day I got that Teyua root, and I had taken it. But in my dream, I started blowing my nose. And I kept blowing my nose. And I kept blowing my nose. And I blew my nose so long I had to wake myself up because in my dream, I don't know what was going on. I couldn't even observe anymore because I was too busy blowing my nose. And stuff was coming out, and it was like the congestion, the spirit of the congestion was removed from me, right? Because I was blowing it out in my dream. So whatever spirit that jumped on me, I removed it in my dream, but it was distracting because now I can't pay attention to what's going on in the dream. And when I looked up what that meant, like when you blow your nose in a dream and stuff comes out, it means that, you're going to get money from someone somewhere. So I stuck that in the back of my head and I didn't know what that meant. So when this stuff comes up about the ancestor money, um, now I understand why I had this dream because as we get into the ancestor money, then the physical money will come in because we're going to be helping our ancestors and our ancestors will be able to help us. And so I understand it now, but at the time I was like, okay, this dream is weird. I was blowing my nose. I was blowing my nose so much I had to literally stop my dream and wake up because I could not stop blowing my nose. And it was very annoying, in the dream. So, anyway, I just thought I just wanted to, we have to really trust ourselves. We have to really, we can't negate our experiences. We can't pretend like our experiences aren't valuable, even in our dream states. Those experiences are extremely valuable. And so, whatever you're doing to record your dreams, please keep it up. Those things are going to come back. You're going to need that information. And what I'm finding a lot of times is you may have one part of the information, somebody else has the other part, and you're able to put dreams together and stuff like that. That is a thing that happens quite consistently, especially among the sisters. So I highly recommend that you take your dreams seriously and recording them. You take your meditation extremely seriously. Get you some good crystals for that. You take your mantras very seriously, and you find ones that resonate with you, that resonate with the energy that you're working with. And they don't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be like rainbows are a really good sign, and I know that And look, you had a dream about rainbows, and I have 3 pieces of rainbow money. That's this kind. Wait, one. I'm gonna show you. This is no joke. One, two, three. These ones aren't the same kind of rainbow, and they're a different color. These aren't the same kind of rainbow as the one in the other one. They're not the same. So, in case you guys think this stuff is a joke, I had no idea when I bought these things. Anyway, so, ooh, a circle. You know what? And when you have dreams, go on Pinterest and look it up. You can literally find out what the Gentiles haven't or the heathens have interpreted a dream to mean, and you can find the one that resonates with you the best, and then you can apply it like that. So I definitely recommend all of those things. As far as I think a terrorist is coming my way, as in a 2-year old. So, I want to talk to you guys. I did a short video about pendulum etiquette, but I want to expand on a few things. When you have questions about how to handle certain situations or you need information, you can use your pendulum to ask questions. I highly recommend you use your pendulum to ask questions, especially for information to be brought to you. And the reason that is because it's really difficult to, the 2-year old man, he's extremely loud. And if he comes in here, he's going to knock everything over. You can find things out. You can have the spirit realm bring you things, but you have to ask for it. They are going to bring you, they are just going to bring you stuff too. But if you ask for what you're specifically looking for, you will get answers. So an example of this is, without going into too much detail, I have been yelling at the Most High about a lot of stuff. But the primary thing I've been yelling at him about is that if he has all of this power, why is he allowing these Gentiles? I know he's rumbling. Why is he allowing these Gentiles to make him look stupid? I have a problem with that. The Most High is grand. He's the master. He's the ruler, and these Gentiles are taking credit for every single thing that he's doing and saying that it's them. And on that same note, I would just like to point out that if you look back at the video of Tower 7 pancaking in on itself, is very, very similar to what's going on in Turkey. So again, you have an example of an angelic strike, and they took the credit for it as if they did it when it wasn't them. It wasn't these people, whoever they are, whatever you call them. It wasn't them. But they took the credit for it. They started a war for it, all kinds of stuff. And I got a problem with exactly, with them mocking him. I got a problem with that. So I've been yelling at him about this for a few months now with my pendulum because I really have a problem with it. I find it to be grotesque and unacceptable. And so, finally the Most High, revealed a little itty bitty piece of the plan to me. And I'm like, wow, I could not have put that together. I could not have understood that. But I was persistent in asking to know why. Why are you allowing these people to mock you, to ridicule you, to make you look smaller and insignificant than you are? I have a problem with that. As a child of light, as a child of the Most High, I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that. The same way I had a problem with people using and abusing a mother, using and abusing the Air Kadeshi. I got a problem with that. And I expressed that and see what's going on with the Air Kadeshi, man. They're tearing things up, but you can use your pendulum. Now, I posted a video from that girl, Chaotic Wish Aunt, and I understand she's a Gentile, but the way that she explained stuff, this thing in particular, I thought was extremely valuable because she was talking about how in some of the anthropology books, they in some of the anthropology books, some of the folk practicing or the folk magic that they would do was literally to make it rain. They would go outside and yell at the sky, and it would rain. Or that's what they would just go and yell. And if you looked at that book, the story of Aradia, the Gospel of the Witches, it basically everything that they have in that whole book is threatening these entities that if you don't do this, you're not gonna have no peace. And so you have to, as an equal with these entities and as a child of the Father, you cannot be afraid to approach, the Most High with some aggressiveness. This is where you would pick up a piece and just, what is going on here? Why is this happening? And you can be really aggressive, you know. You can be aggressive with them, especially when it comes to them using and abusing and mocking, them. You can express that that's unacceptable. I don't think our people have done enough of that. Telling them that they can't allow people to treat them like this. And I used to say this to my mom, in real life, like, don't let these people talk about you like that. Who's saying stuff? Let me go and say something to them. And she's like, no, no, no. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to go and say something because they're not going to talk to you like that. And I treat the father and the mother the same way. I go and I will say to them, these people think that you're a joke. Y'all, why? Why? I need to know why. And, it will be revealed to you. So we have to up our relationship with the Most High and the Mother. We have to be, instead of it being a quote unquote fearing relationship, it needs to be like a working relationship, and if you don't have, you didn't have a good relationship with your parents or whatever the case may be, this is a good opportunity to get a feel for that. Like I said in the beginning about the shadow work, this is when you get the opportunity to work some of these things out. and it's not all fear and trembling. Sometimes it's yelling in the spirit realm, yelling at the Most High, and telling him these people think you're a joke. It's not me. They could think I'm a joke. But what you're not going to do is think that the father is a joke and the mother is a joke. I got a problem with that. And the more of us that approach them with this, with this kind of energy, some things will happen faster. And when we get more into the folk practicing, which that's the term. I said this in a video, but I'll say it again. Instead of using the term, magic and all of that, we are folk practitioners. We are not witches and what we're folk practitioners. This is the old time religion. This is the old time religion. This is the quote unquote old black magic, that they talk about in that song, which I love. My favorite version is Keely Smith and what is that guy? The guy she was married to. Anyway, that's from the 50s. But this is the old magic. This is it's folk magic. And it's like I also said in the video, it's less off putting. It's more like, oh, well, somebody is over there just doing some folk stuff. You know what I mean? Original knowledge, exactly. The old original stuff. That's what we're doing. We're not doing some newfangled stuff with some, all this stuff is extremely old, extremely ancient. It's being restored and returned to us. And it all goes together. It just takes us to, unlock the key, which, like I said, in a few weeks, we'll be talking more about that once I have the authorization to move forward, which is not quite yet. So I just want people to get prepared. We're getting ready to be elevated. The Most High has really entrusted us with a lot of information. I, for one, am not worried about any person getting the information who's not supposed to have it, because there's an angel over that. And so if people stumble across this and they're not supposed to have it, that angel is bound to ensure that person doesn't get it, period. So I'm not worried about that. What I'm more concerned about is, one, the message not getting to people in the proper time, so that when we are able to move forward, we're still kind of stuck and lagging behind. The message is not getting out there fully. All kinds of stuff. So that's what I'm more worried about than anything, is that, you needing the information and not having it when you need it. It's not going to work for them. Period. It's not going to, even if I could sit here and enumerate it to you right now, this minute, it's not going to work. Those entities, again, I've been saying this for like 3 months now, but if you all would just, I'm not saying you're not, I'm not saying it like that. If people would just work with these entities, they would see that they, like on my pendulum, nobody, Diane is the first one who comes to my pendulum. I just started working with her. And when I pick my pendulum up, as soon as I'm holding it, she is right there. My guardian angel doesn't even have a chance to even get in. I have to can I talk to my guardian angel? Okay, I guess you got other people to deal with. That's fine. Diane is not no low level entity. She's a top tier entity. And as soon as I pick my pendulum up, she's right there. So that is to say that these entities want to work with us. They know how we are. They know how we treat entities. They feel very comfortable working with us. They're bringing us all kinds of information from all different religions and all different genres and all different everywhere. And it's, up to us, just like with the ancestor money, if we don't use it, nobody is going to use it right. They're just not going to do anything. They're not going to have anything to do. They can't elevate because nobody is using them. And then also that means that we can't elevate either. So it is our duty to work with different entities so that they can elevate to the next level. Because remember, all of these things are just titles. They're titles. There's different entities that go in and out of the title. And if we want to elevate, they have to also elevate. Otherwise, everything gets stuck. So that's the reason why you see so much stagnation within these religions, because our men really need to be stepping up and working with Yeshua, with Jesus, and Peter and Paul, and these masculine entities. And due to the nature of how religion has been presented to us, they're not doing the same thing that we are over here. And at some point, we're going to have to address that. But for right now, we want to get ourselves to a high enough level that we can help our brothers up. But as of right now, it's the same thing. It's just like the Hebrew widow was talking about Poseidon. That's a male entity. That's a male entity that she saw. You know, our brothers should be working with these male entities. We can't, there's so many female entities. We got to deal with them first. You know, that's just what we have to do. But it's creating a blockage for the masculine because they're not working with these entities due to the nature of how religion has been portrayed to us. And, you know, that's something that we're working on, right? They don't do too much because of the church, you know? Um, well, Mo- Moshe can't come because nobody's working with him. I mean, I'm going to be honest, you know, these entities have to work with people. They have to train you. We're in training right now. They have to accept their, oh my sis, they have to accept their assignments. We have accepted, I have accepted my assignment. I work with all of them, wherever they come from. We can't get Elijah. The spirit of Elijah is coming. I don't know where it's going to go. That's why the Sybil spirit is coming, you know, because the men, they're not in position, you know, and we're in position for the female spirits. So that's why we're getting the female spirits first, you know. It's not just because this is the mother's time, because the mother could work with the men too, but she's not, because too many of our men are caught up in, you know, they don't want to work with these entities. They don't want to be put through the ringer like a lot of the sisters have. We've been put through the ringer with these entities, man. It's no joke. We've been put through the ringer with these entities. These things have put us through, and these things have put me through a crash course of all kinds of stuff I had no idea I would ever be talking about 1 year ago when I first read the book of remembrance of Melchizedek. You know what I mean? She is working hard for us, but the energy would be here for the males, but the males are not calling on it. They're not working with these entities. And so it is an imbalance, and we are going to have to address it, but first we need to put our own mask on and, you know, make sure that we can breathe properly. And then as far as the guardian angels are concerned, they can come in masculine or feminine. So at first, I was working with my guardian angel as a masculine entity, but I felt more comfortable working with them as a feminine entity. And so I made the conscious decision I wanted a female to come, because all of those entities, it's an office. You know, it's the title is a it's an office, you know what I mean? And so they have males and females, and when they're out in the spirit realm, they could be either or, but when they come into our realm, they have to pick male or female. So you can pick which one is more comfortable with you. I just felt more comfortable after a while working with all female entities, and that's what I'm doing right now. And so we, you know, everyone's right. We really have to keep our men in prayer, and, you know, pray that the committee, that's a good one. We have to keep our men in prayer. We have to pray for their strength. We have to pray for them to step up and work with these male entities, because Yeshua ain't coming, Moshe ain't coming, Elijah ain't coming, Peter, Paul, nobody's coming if they don't have nobody to work with. The reason why the feminine energy is so high is because we're working with these entities. I'm working with every female entity that comes my way. I'm like, let me just work with them for a little while, get to know them, you know, boom, you know, activate them. That's how I look at it, like activating them. And then once they're activated, then I don't have to worry about, I'm protected on all sides. That's when I had that dream, they were trying to get me to sign the contract. That person went straight to jail. They was in whatever spiritual jail. They went directly there because they know good and well they was not supposed to mess with me. I was not the one. They went directly to jail. They was gone. That person never came back in my dream. I haven't had no dream like that since then. Joseph ain't coming. No. Now another part of this is that a lot of the stories were they made them male characters when they were really female characters, but the male characters could still come. But our men, we need our men to step up, and it's not my place to tell the men to step up. I it's not that's not my place. All I can say is the female entities are coming in because we're working with them, and as I introduced them to you, oh, I know I did. As I introduced them to you, y'all are taking the information and doing something with it. And the males, they're not. There's just more entities out there than the angelic hierarchy. You know what I mean? And it's not that the other, the angelic hierarchy is not important, but there's a lot of more information. Solomon ain't coming. Where's Solomon gonna go? Who he gonna go to? Not that Solomon is the best character anyway, but who's calling out for wisdom? What? Ooh, let me not say that. Oh, Father God. Oh my goodness. Mm, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. That's not nice. Let's just say ain't no Solomon coming because ain't nobody. There's not enough of our men, leading the call for these entities to come. You know what? The entities, you, how can I describe this? That could be due to some shadow work that you still have to do because they will, especially the female entities, they are less likely to do things in a certain order if they know it's going to cause you more problems, meaning they have more compassion on us, I think, than the masculine entities. So if they know that with the thing that you're asking for is going to actually create more of a shadow, they will slow walk it as slow as possible. So like this happened to me this week, you know, and I'm asking the Most High for this and asking the Most High for that. But I didn't learn the lesson, and so instead of giving me what I asked for, they gave me a huge stumbling block. You know what I mean? And no, they ain't ready for nobody. To be honest, to be quite honest, they're not ready for nobody. And so until I learned the lesson that they were trying to get me to learn, which is why I just told y'all about taking my dreams, taking my stuff seriously. When I get the message, taking my messages seriously, even the ones I don't understand. Um, until I learned that lesson, of the stuff that I was asking for was delayed, and it was delayed by a whole week, because I wasn't asking the question. Learning the lesson. And that's what the feminine energies will do. They will delay you until you learn the lesson. And once you learn the lesson, things will pick up and move really fast. But you have to always be doing self checks, doing double checks, making sure that you're not having emotional responses to stuff. You're not, just being over emotional. And it's really important. Like I talked about this already, but the meditation and all of this stuff is really, really important to keep ourselves in balance, because the way that we feel, the women, the daughters of Zion, the earth is responding to us. So, all of this cold energy could be our cold response to the tragedy in Turkey, because I didn't really have a response to that at all, except to say, well, I guess those people deserved it. But, and that could be true. I'm not saying that that's not true, but is that the way to respond to a tragedy, even if it is people who deserve it? Is that the way to respond? Or could you, yeah, not without sending thoughts and prayers? Nobody is sending no thoughts and prayers. Could you still say, Lord have mercy on their souls, even if they don't deserve it. What does it cost you to ask the Most High to have mercy on somebody's soul, even if they don't deserve it? It doesn't cost you anything. And we had a very cold response to that, and now we have a very cold snap across this country. You know, I felt to stay out of his way too, but at the same time, we could literally say, Lord, have mercy on their souls. We could have said that, you know, and that would have been a less cold response. You know what I mean? And we can't automatically go to cold responses either. This goes back to what I said in the beginning. We can't automatically go to emotional responses, but we can't automatically go to nonchalant responses too. Sometimes you can support something without supporting it. You can you can say, Lord, have mercy on their souls. And from now on, that's what I'll say. You know, when I see a tragedy like this, this stuff that's going on in Ohio and all this stuff, I just, Lord, have mercy on their souls. Whether they deserve it or not, I'm not the judge anyway, and me, asking them to have mercy doesn't mean that he is, but it takes the cold. Yeah, we have PTSD, and so we automatically go to a cold response, and we have to watch that. I mean, if you look, there's a guy called Ponder on Weather. If you look at that cold, snap that's coming across, that is a direct response to our cold response to that tragedy. Because to be quite honest, Turkey is going to be completely destroyed. And just asking for them to have a little mercy on those people's souls, that's the least we could do. The not thoughts and prayers. No, nobody is sending no thoughts and no prayers. Lord, have mercy on their souls. For the ones, just in general, all of them. Lord, have mercy on their souls. You know, let the Most High's will be done. Yes, of course, do what you're going to do. I'm going to stay out of it. But at the same time, we don't want to be like them. See, this is what we don't want to do. We don't want to come out of this thing, turn right back around, and go right back and be like they were. Because what would they do to us? Would they say, with Tuskegee experiment, did anybody say, Lord, have mercy on our souls? When our men were being murdered by syphilis? Did anybody say, Lord, have mercy on their souls to us when they was dumping hazardous chemicals in Newark and all these brown zones and all of that? No, we can't do the same as them. We can't advance if our immediate response is the same response they had to us. We can't do like them. Well, what does the scripture say for us to do? That's a good question. I don't know. But I know one thing. We got a cold snap coming across this country. And Dutch, I mean, yeah, all I know is we got a cold snap coming across this country, and right now you got a bunch of black women acting like ice queens. That's not unrelated. That's all I can say. Hey, me included, because I wasn't even looking at these people. I ain't looking at none of the stories. I didn't care about it at all. And that I don't think that was the right response. I will say for myself, I don't think that was the right response. To just automatically say these people are getting what they deserve, to just automatically go into a very cold response to the loss of life and the loss of clean drinking water. And for myself, I think my response was the wrong response. So everybody, you make your decision for yourself, but I'm just saying, thinking about it from this perspective, I think that was the wrong response. And I can tell it's the wrong response, for me at least, by the way that the weather is reacting. There's no way that most of this country should be getting dumped with ice and snow and whatever. That shouldn't be happening in That shouldn't be happening in March. Basically, that's very unusual. You know, compassion. Yeah, it's Esau's troubles. Of course, they're gonna have troubles, but it don't cost us anything to say, "Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy." That is, Lord have mercy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying for myself. I'm looking at the weather and saying this weather ain't right, and what did I do to, what did I do to contribute to that? You know what I mean? And so, that's a conclusion that I come to live on air. I hadn't really thought about it before this point, but that's a conclusion. And we all need work. This is a process. Like nobody is. I didn't even think about it until now, and that's only because I saw the thing, and now we're talking, and I'm like, oh, why is it so? If the weather responds to us and it's getting icy, super icy, that means that we were icy about the situation, and so is that good? Is that bad? I mean, the ice is coming here. It's not going anywhere else. So I would say that was probably a bad response. And that's kind of like, the feedback loop. And maybe because they know that our hearts are, we're going to try and warm up a little bit and whatever. It's like sometimes the weather is like is to snap us out of our own emotions. You know what I mean? Just like the earthquake, it shakes and it snaps you out of it. That's what it is. It snaps us out of it, and we say, "Wow, this is, you know." The whole reason I'm doing any of this stuff is because to limit the amount of death, and so that not one innocent person has to continue to suffer. And if that means them too, nobody who's innocent should have to suffer. you know no matter, if they're innocent, they shouldn't be made to suffer. And we have to be compassionate about our response to these people. And it's not saying that it's going to stop it. This ain't going to stop none of it. You know what I mean? uh, 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 it could be. You have to, when you're dealing with the spirit realm, you just do what they tell you to do. You don't ask a whole bunch of questions. If they say do something crazy, you go ahead and do it. That's why I get on if you look at my videos, they be telling me to do all kinds of crazy stuff all the time. Crazy on top of crazy on top of crazy. And I just do it. Our babies were Gator Bay. That's bad. Do we respond back with that cold and that callous? I don't know. Look, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm looking at this ice. My mom has got snow. Eh, eh, maybe I could have been a little bit more a little less than nonchalant. A little less than nonchalant, because it is a lot of life loss. It is a lot of horrible things that's happening, and it's self-reflection. I'm just reflecting with y'all on how I hadn't even thought about it until just now. I'm just reflecting with y'all on my thought process, and pray about it, meditate on it, think about it, come to your own conclusion. Don't take my conclusion. Just because I made it here on air and y'all are, in the chat, don't take my conclusion for it. I'm just saying think about it, because what we don't want to do is be like them. We're trying to be like the way the Most High made us to be. One thing I can say about that is that if Moshe chastised the Most High for being angry at the people who are having a naked party down in front of the golden calf, and Moshe chastised the Most High over that, okay, over his wrath. And what he say? What he say to the Most High? You know how these people are. These are your people. You know how they are. So Moshe, if Moshe can chastise the Most High, then that means that even the Most High it's something it's not just a one way. Sometimes we have to step back and reflect on our emotions, or our lack of emotions in this case. We want to be equal and opposite. We want to be appropriate with our response. No, we don't give them thoughts and prayers every single time they ask for them. No, but a Lord have mercy, and it don't cost you. Or some other term, that just says, you are empathetic towards their suffering. Because you don't have to be sympathetic towards it. I mean, in most cases we are because we have endured a lot of suffering, but you don't have to be sympathetic towards their suffering. You just need to understand that they're suffering and acknowledge that they're suffering and that it is very difficult to suffer, you know. And you don't have to be emotional about it past that, but just acknowledge that they are suffering, and whether they deserve it or not is really not up for us to judge. And it's just not up for us to judge whether they deserve it or not. The Most High is the ultimate judge on that one, you know. And I don't know. I mean, this stuff just came up for me. You know, I don't know. This stuff just came up. Just like right now, I hadn't even thought about this until right now. You know, so I don't know. I have to do some more myself. You know, it just so happens that that's one of the things that I heard while I was out today. It's not our works that save us. It's not our works. It's literally the Most High having compassion on us that even allows us to do anything. And someone like a Moshe saying, your children, how they are, don't hold it against them. And Moshe did that for us, for our people back then. And I'm not saying we got to do that for anybody else, you know. But we shouldn't just look at it in such a, or I would say I won't look at these things with such coldness, and I'm a pretty cold person as it is. So yeah, um, you know, hey, everybody, I'm not arguing a point here. I'm just saying, think about it. If your conclusion is your conclusion, hey, all praises to the Most High. Everybody do what they think is best, but this has I'm feeling that this has the opportunity to turn into a situation, especially with all the suffering that's coming, to make our shadow worse. Because as we're more cold about the okay, yeah, everybody understands. Okay, as we're more cold about how things are happening to these other people, coldness is a, I don't know. It's coldness is not just. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just looking at the weather and saying, well, this weather is responding to us and it's cold, which tells me that we're cold. You know what I mean? And so, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Now, it could be a good thing. Some people like snow and ice, but the way that they're talking about this snow and ice, it's like it's not good. It's a very, very bad snow and ice. You know what I mean? And so, do I want any of our seniors to perish because they can't get out of their house because they're stuck in the snow and ice because we were cold about some people who got killed in another country? These things have consequences. All I say, these things have consequences, right? These things have consequences, and as the daughters, and the rulers of this realm, we just have to be aware that these things have consequences. And so, it's always good to reflect. This is what I mean by double checking. This is what I mean by triple checking. This is what I mean, use your pendulum. Me, I will take my pendulum and I will ask about these things later to see if, to double check and triple check myself, to see if because I hadn't even thought about this until just now. So I'm gonna double check and triple check myself. Is my response right? Was my heart, in the right place? I don't know. I don't know. And this is what I mean by questioning using your pendulum. These are the kind of things you can use your pendulum for. I'm doing with you guys live on the Ustream, but you can use your pendulum for this too. And you talk with the Most High or whoever, and as the pendulum swings, if it's yes, hey, you got confirmation. What you're doing is right, and what's right for one person is not necessarily right for another person. Everybody has their own individual things. It's just good for us to have this time to bring stuff up among the sisters so that we can figure out how we're in general going to feel about these type of things. You know what I mean? Because we don't really have a space. Nobody's facilitating this kind of stuff, and these are things that have to be discussed because clearly we're getting this storm. All the weather is in response to our emotion. So we have to double check. We have to triple check ourselves. That's what a good ruler, a good king or queen would do. They would double check and triple check themselves just to make sure that their response was the right response. And so that's this experiment was basically what I would do with my pendulum. 100%. When I have my meetings with the Most High, it's just like this. I'm going through my emotions and saying how I feel about things and getting the feedback with my pendulum on whether this is a good feeling, a good way to feel about it, or a bad way to feel about it. And if I need to course correct, I know at that time. This is how I use my pendulum. I'm not even like joking. This is exactly how I would use my pendulum. I would be thinking about something, then I'll say it, and I'll wait for a response and see. This is how you use. This is the real pendulum work, the real questioning, the real, trying to make sure that you're on the right track. This is what it really looks like. People do pendulum work and they do these yes or no questions, and you can use your pendulum for feedback. If it's a positive feedback, you're right. The way that you feel about a situation. When you get negative feedback, the spirit will tell you, I don't think so. That's not right. And that has happened to me before, and I had to really check myself. Like, okay, that response that I had was not the right response. Let me have a different response. And it you know, this is what it looks like. Just like this discussion that we're having, this is what it looks like. I would use my pendulum and I would ask the questions just like this. I would go through all the things. Well, I did this, but maybe I should have did this, or what about this? What about that? This is how I use my pendulum. Real feedback, and you work with that thing enough, and you can tell when you have a really good feedback and when it's like, yeah, but yeah, that's true, but at the same time, no, you know what I mean. You can get feedback like that. This is the real way that you can use the pendulum and really get to the heart of problems that you have. So you can do this with a problem. Right. Your angel say, "Oh no, don't do that." I don't think so. Yeah, this is just one of the ways. I mean, I'm not saying this is the only way, of course, but this is how I use my pendulum. So y'all got to see it in real time. When I ask questions, I ask them just like this. And if I get like, stuff pop into my head, and I'll be like, yeah, but I don't know about that, and I will say, well, this is what I understand about a situation, X, Y, and Z, and I lay it out. And sometimes what I understand is right, and sometimes what I understand is wrong. And if what I understand is wrong, I will ask, can you please bring me more information so that I can have the proper understanding about this? This is how I work with the entities that I work with. This is why they want to work with me, because it's a co-creative process. It's not a them on high telling me what to do, and it's not a me commanding them what to do. It is really a back and forth, and sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm wrong. Not always right. I'm not always wrong. It's a process, and sometimes the information they give me is not 100%, and then I have to go back to them and say, hey, you told me X, Y, and Z, what's up with that? Then I'll some other stuff that I need to do comes up, or you know right back. All kinds of, I can't. If I start telling stories about all the times these entities told me not to do something, I don't even worry about it anymore. When they say no, I'm just like, nah, I'm not doing that. And I just, if they say, chill today, okay. So people are like, well, I thought you were doing this. I try to. They say chill. Hey, Spirit Realm told me to chill today, so I'll get to what I can get to. You know what I mean? And that's how I treat it. And so I'm giving this information to you guys so that you can see how you know, you can see how I do it. Now, I had planned on doing this with my pendulum, but I hadn't even thought about this ice thing. It just kind of came up, and I didn't really get a chance to get my pendulum out and whatever. And I don't. It's better not that I didn't use it, but you get to see, you get a general idea of how I go back and forth, you know, with the spirit realm, and this is how I go back and forth with them. Right. Yeah, we're and then we're fasting too. So when you're fasting, you're on the same level as them. You're not even a little bit below them. You're on the same level as them. So, you know, this whole thing, it has a lot of stuff with it, and we don't even, you know, we don't really understand how all of it works, which is why it's good to, you know, get feedback from other people, see how other people do their spirit work, you know what I mean, and just see what things make sense for you, what things don't, and just see how other people are doing their stuff, because it's a lot of different ways you can do this stuff. But one thing I can tell you is that the spirit realm will tell you how they want you to do it. They will lead you on a very direct path on what they want you to do. Very, very direct. And it's not really complicated, but you have to look into places where you wouldn't ordinarily look. And, you know, that's where this whole conversation comes from, because, you know, a lot of the stuff you guys said, I completely agree with. I completely agree with, but what I'm hearing in my head is like, yeah, but, yeah, but. I just keep hearing it, yeah, but. And I'm like, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hearing. It's like, yeah, what they're saying is true. Cause I agree. All of this stuff, I agree. Just like I told you, I go into the spirit realm and yell at these people all the time. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but, you know, that sounds like a cop out for, you know, the problem that you really have, which is, you know, X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, you know, wanting someone to pay for the suffering that they cause to my people. That's a huge problem that we have. You can't, I don't think it's helpful for us to want the people who caused us to suffer. Meaning, they're going to suffer regardless, but to want them to suffer is different. Knowing that they're going to suffer, hey, we know they're going to suffer, that's a given. But to have that almost like lustful desire to see them suffering, that's a little bit different. And we have to be aware of what's going on. So this is kind of like, I would say, fine tune shadow work. This is like, you know, a lot of the big stuff, you know, we've dealt with. Now this is where you get into the fine tune points of how to look at stuff, how to feel about stuff, how to approach stuff, so that you don't, you know, we just don't want to make the same mistakes our ancestors did. And we definitely don't want to make the mistakes the Gentiles and the heathens did. So we have to do things a little bit different just to make sure we don't fall into any of those, you know, monkey holes that are wide open, those paths, those wide paths. We want to say the narrow path. And the narrow path, um, right, right. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You know, not what they did unto you, but you would have them do unto you. And so, anyway, it's just kind of a thought exercise. That was a good one too, because you can see a lot of different, you know, opinions on from multiple perspectives, and everybody is, you know, everybody has a valid point. But now you can see, this is how I go back and forth with the spirit realm, and sometimes I have to do several sessions before I actually get a cohesive understanding and of what is actually going on. And sometimes it takes a while for me to come to a conclusion. And another thing that I do is, until I have a real understanding of something, I just won't move ahead with it. You know, I just won't move ahead with whatever it is until I have a real, you know, conviction, understanding of whatever it is that I was thinking about. And so, anyway, I hope that was a good exercise for everybody. Now we have some good examples of how, you know, how to do this thing, and what will help us become better leaders, stronger women, stronger pillars of our community, because we will have at least thought through these kind of things. And then we also have to make sure we teach our children, especially the younger ones. I have a bunch of young children, also how to do this, because they're not going to grow up in a world where the heathens and the Gentiles are breathing down their necks. So then what? Yeah, I mean, if all we know is the heathens and the Gentiles breathing down our necks, we don't want them to self perpetuate Gentiles and heathens breathing down their necks. They're not going to have to experience that. They're not going to have to go through that. So we need to all, that's just, something else that I just kind of got thrown at me. Like, yeah, because if we just keep carrying on the same way we always have, then when the time comes for our children to be in charge, you know, then what? Do we want them to do the same thing? Do we want them to, in 1,000 years, the Gentiles and the heathens are back on top because they're doing the same thing? I mean, it's all kinds of consequences, and we have to really think through these things. We are the leaders of this realm. We are the top. We are the head. As the head, we lead the way. We set the pace. And as the women, we really lead the way. We really set the pace. And so hopefully, these men will start working with these entities, and we can get our Yeshua, we can get our Moshe, we can get our Elijah here. And they ain't coming. They ain't coming like this. They ain't coming like this. I'm sorry. They're just not. They're not coming like this with the way that these men are. And that's a problem. The Sibyls, the prophetesses, they have to have these entities with them. you know so we got to have them, and so it really would be helpful if they would step up and start working with these different entities so that we could have everybody here. You know what I mean? They're waiting on the sidelines, but the men are all, over the place with a whole bunch of other stuff, and they don't have their heads on, you know they don't have their heads on leading, and I don't want it to be unbalanced, where the females are just running ramshot over the men and the men don't feel like they have a place. But that's because they haven't done the work. So, I'm going to definitely, be talking in the spirit realm and seeing, if they can, you know, unbind our men so that they can be. Maybe we had to be unbound first, because we do set the tone and the pace. So maybe we had to be unbound first, and then, the masculine energies could come in and they could be unbound. We have a lot of work to do. I mean, the time is moving fast, and luckily for us, you know, luckily for us, we've been doing a lot of work. And I'm not saying that we can't call on the masculine entities, because of course we can, but the father and the mother want to work together. They're not trying to, it's very, I don't know. I haven't really talked about this a lot, so I may just have to do another video just on this whole topic, because I haven't addressed the men because I don't feel like it's my place, but I may have to address the men just because I feel like it is my place, now that we're talking about it, because we don't want this thing to drag on longer than it has to, just because nobody wants to get and tell the men that they need to step it up. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of like starting to kind of get that vibe, and I hadn't thought about it before, but I'm certainly thinking about it now. So I know this wasn't much of a standard kind of Q&A, but I think we definitely did get some questions kind of answered, and some ways to think about things cleared up, and I really appreciate everybody coming in on the live. I know it was kind of short notice, but I never know when anyone else is doing their live, and I don't want to interfere with other people. So I just said, okay, nobody's on. Let me just hop in here real quick and we'll have a discussion. I hope that everybody's fast is going well. Over here on the night shift, it is extremely difficult. No, there fasting sundown to sun up. I have woken up so many nights with my stomach grumbling. I've never ever experienced that in my whole life. Never. So no, the night shift is not easy. The night shift is not easy. So I don't know why I thought it would be. It's not. It's real. It's real crazy in these streets. So I hope everybody is doing well with that. We still don't officially have an end date over here. I think um, I think I'm going to end on April the 9th, which is Pashka, or Easter, Orthodox Easter. Um, I think, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So, um, anyway, so we don't have an end date over here yet. We're definitely waiting until the sun changes stations, which we're going to be observing to see when the sun changes stations, and then that'll start our new year. Um, that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're looking for as far as when our new year is going to start, and we'll talk about that a little bit more once we get closer to the date. And so I think this was like a good therapy session for me. It sure was because I hadn't thought about some of this stuff, and now I really have to go back and really like think about like this stuff because it's really difficult to show compassion to somebody who's been whipping you for 400, 500,000 years. You know what I mean? Um, it's really really difficult. And I just look at it like I want to do what the Most High wants me to do, and I want to handle it the way that He wants me to handle it. And the only way for me to know is to ask, and that's what I intend to do is to go back and ask, how should I feel about this? How should I respond to this? So that I respond the way that's the most proper and the most appropriate. And I suggest everybody do that now that we've had this issue exposed to us. It's really our, duty to think about it and really, see how we feel about it. Do our self check, our double check, and our triple check. So, yeah, so I think that's everything. Again, if you missed the first part, go back and rewind it. It's really good information at the beginning. And again, the sisters page is Lead with Love. She's the one that talks about using the ancestor money, which I already talked about. And we definitely need to incorporate into our little our routine and what we're doing, for the Most High, whatever. So, to the spirits who are here with us, you're invited to go in peace. To my beloved sisters, you're invited to be at peace. And always remember, the Most High is your peace. Shalom, everyone.